Hi, I'm Chuck, KK6USY. Welcome to Ham Radio Ventures. Today, we're going to check out the Allpowers R600. The 600 stands for the inverter. It will do continuous 600 watts and it'll peak at 1200, but we'll talk about all that later. Now in the box, I also got this little kit right here, and we'll show you what's in there later. And then also we got the this is the book that tells you all about everything it will do. So now also in our testing we're going to do, I've also got something else here from Allpowers, and that would be this. This is a 200 watt solar panel, and it also has a pocket on the back here with everything it came with also. We'll show you that also. So let's get started in the video, guys. Okay guys, let me kind of go through the different things it has. As you can see on the top here, it says wireless output of 15 watts. My phone's already charged, but it still will come on. And see it's trying to charge it, but it says 100% charge. So it's not going to charge it for now. So that's charging port number 1. This thing has 10 charging ports, guys. So let me tilt this thing up a little bit, and we'll show you the front here. So on the front you have a cigarette lighter, basically. That's not what they call it anymore, but it's a power port. That's good for 10 amps. These are both good for 10 amps also. That's 12 volt, okay? Regulated 12 volt there. So there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 total. All right, so we have 2 of these. These are your 110 to 120. And these are good for 600 watts and 1200 watts for when you first start something on. It can go all the way up to 1200, but 600 is max, and we'll show you that later also. So there's 2 of those, and basically you just turn them on here. Okay, I'm going to turn it off for now though. And then also you turn these on. These are USB-Cs. They're good for 100 watts each. That's pretty good. As you'll see later, that's really good. And you have USB-A's for 18 watts. That's for charging your regular stuff. So I believe a lot of laptops will take 100 watts, and that's what that's probably for. And then you also have your light. I'm probably going to blind you guys here. It's pretty bright. And also, I think it does SOS too. So that's the output side of it. Now the input side, we have this little door here. All these venting, all the vents and stuff are all around. So for your 110 charging is right here. You have a plug, and this unit does not have a brick, which is kind of cool. It's built in. All you do is plug a cord in, plug it into the wall, and it works. All right. So you have your circuit breaker here. It says press to reset. And then something I like, this is a XT60. A lot of these will have ST60s or power poles. And if they don't take as much, you're going to see this thing takes 300 watts of solo through this point, and that's because of the XT60, I believe. Now when they use the little barrel connectors, they're limited to so many watts. But this one will do 300, which is a lot for a little small unit like this. This is not a unit you would buy to like totally power your home if the power goes out for days on end. This is something to get you by. And at the other side of it here, same thing. We have vents and stuff for everything. It does have a fan when you hook it to the power. We'll listen to that later. It's not exceptionally quiet. Now, let's just pull this off now. Everybody loves this part. Yeah, it's got a really nice screen, guys. Not the brightest screen, but it does a lot of stuff. You have your wattage and input. You have your wattage and output. It will tell you how many days left. So this is really nice. This is one of the upper end type of gauges on one of these type of units. Sometimes they don't tell you all that stuff. Sometimes they'll just tell you what's coming in. It's really nice to have that. So yeah, really good setup here. And especially in a small unit like this one. 299 watt hours, I think, is what this one is. So not huge, it's not the smallest, not the biggest, but a good size for, you know, maybe your first time buying something like this. All right, let's go into what's in the bag. Let me set this aside. Now, the one thing that didn't come with, and I've seen other reviewers complain about this, is it didn't come with a car charger where you plug it into your cigarette lighter, but you can buy one of those that has a XT60 end on it. Okay, so it comes with this nice little bag here, guys. Let me see if I can get a little bit better for you. It zippers up, and the bag. Here's your 110 to hook it up. This is all you guys need to hook it to the to recharge this thing. And I think it's 400 watts it'll take. This thing will charge in 1 hour from 0. And then it has your cables to hook it to your solar. These are nice little cables here, and your XT60 to plug in the side. These are really common on nice solar panels, guys. Also in the bag, in the box, it comes with this. This is your warranty card. Comes with your instruction booklet inside here, and this is your how to look them up on Facebook. Let me get the solar panel. We'll open that thing up and see what's inside of it also. I believe this is a 200 watt solar panel. If you see here on this is the back side here, and what you'll have here is these legs that prop it up for different angles. Has nice little clips here to unclip it. Okay, so we're not relying on anything else. We have the clips to hold it closed. And I'm not going to open it all the way up, but I'll open it so you can see one of the panels here. Hopefully, well, maybe I am. No, there you go. Let's see what we got. So there's the panels. Nice little panels. We'll set those up later so you can see what they do. Let's just go ahead and close this. We'll show you what else it comes with. Let me lock this. So that's pretty secure, guys, with the cables, with the buckles there. All right, on the back, another leg. I think there's 4 legs total, one for each panel. This is 4 panels on this thing. And we have this, just like a lot of solar panels have, we have the compartment back here in the back to store all your wires and stuff. I'm opening this up with you guys, so I don't really know what's in here, guys. So here we have, let me take it out of the bag for you. I'll probably get rid of all the bags anyhow, at least for now. So this would be like hooking it up to a battery. Now remember, guys, if you're going to hook this up to a battery, you should have a solar controller, so you don't blow the battery up or injure the battery in any way. It comes with a little booklet for the solar panel. I'm not going to take these out, but these are adapters. You have US, I don't know what that one is for sure. These are different adapters for how this is set up to work with not just their solar panels, but with other solar panels. Okay, and here's your connectors here. The wires that the Allpowers R600 came with will hook to these, and then it has its own solar charge controller inside of it. Now a lot of people like power poles, so you can, if your unit has power pole hookup to charge it, there you go. You got one of those also. So I've covered power poles and XT60s. We've covered in here. We've got adapters for the barrel type connectors. And then what do we have in this one? And you see everything's connected in here and it's enclosed. So in this one, this is the one that has the barrel connectors in it. That may not be the real word for it, but this is where you would take your adapters and adapt to whatever your solar generator actually has for its charge. And you'll see later, I think this is a limiting factor on some of them, not having power poles and XT60s, on how much power they can come in, plus probably the actual solar controller also, not just these. All right. Okay guys, let's set up the solar and see how this thing performs. Okay. Alright, so I've got the 200 watt solar panel set up. Probably not optimal. It's getting 161 watts in right now. I saw as high as 170. And now we're at 77%. I forget what it was. It was around somewhere around 70% to start with. So doing pretty good. It is late in the afternoon. The sun is probably not in the best position. I'll show you guys how I have it set up. It's just all temporary right now. I would say the cords are a little short if you're going to try and set it up inside something and then have the panels outside. But you can buy extensions for that, so that's not a big deal. Okay, so there's the panels. So you got the legs. They're not perfect, but got it set in a pretty good angle. It probably needs to come down just a little bit. The sun's pretty high in the sky, so my angle is probably not the best. But that's how they look. And yeah. So there we go. If I step over, if I can here. All right, so there's a view from the other side with the angle. You can see the angle a little bit better. You can see the sun glaring off of them. So yeah, they're working pretty good. They're a nice unit. And these things, even though it says 200 watts, very seldom will you ever get 200 out of a 200 or 100 out of 100. So I think it's doing pretty well. And if I mess with it, I could probably get it even better. Now, I'm not sure, but the solar controller may have actually held back the amount of power it was taking in, only because it was already at 75%. But it went from 75% or 72% to 100 in about an hour. So not too bad. Okay, I set up a little comparison chart with a Jackery. Jackery is well known in this type of system, and I picked one out that had roughly the same size battery size. You'll notice that some of the specs will be different, but for apples to apples, it's pretty much the same thing from Jackery. So let's go in and check that out and see how this thing compares to a pretty well-known solar generator.
All right, guys, if you look here, I've got a chart that shows the Allpowers R600 versus the Jackery Explorer 300. Now, if you look at size and watt hours, they pretty much tie. They're both about the same, 299 watt hours and 293 watt hours. So almost exactly the same size. So when you go to charge rate, the Allpowers will charge from 0 to 100% in 1 hour. So I give it a win there versus the 0 to 80% in 2 hours and 4 hours to go to 100% for the Jackery. For AC and solar charge rate, the Allpowers can take 400 watts AC and 300 watts solar, so it also gets a win here. I'm not sure what the AC was on the Jackery, but it was 100 watts solar, the best I could find. Really, this isn't normal for a solar generator like this small to get that much input. Okay, on charge ports, again, the Allpowers has 10 versus 6. That's 2 AC at 600 watts versus 2 AC at 300 watts on the Jackery. So it's double the size. Now that has a double-edged sword there, because 600 watts is going to pull the Allpowers down a lot faster. But the advantage is that you can do 600 versus the max of 300. And you can always just do 300. It has 2 USB-Cs at 100 watts versus the Jackery at 1 at 60 watts. 2 USB-As, 18 watts. And I think they had 2 USB-As on the Jackery, so they're kind of the same there. And then 1 DC for 10 amps and 1 DC for 10 amps for both of those. They're pretty equal there, but I do believe that there was more DC outputs on the Allpowers. Now they both have pure sine wave inverters, 600 watts on the Allpowers and 300 watts. We mentioned that already, and 500 surge only though instead of 600. Usually that would be 300, 600, but the Allpowers has a 600 with a 1200 surge. Now on weight, the Jackery actually weighs a lot less, less than half, 16.3 pounds versus 7.1 pounds. But we're going to talk about that in a second here. And then same thing for the size, if you look at the size there. So the solar controller will actually control up to 300 watts on the 600 versus the Jackery with only 100. That was the best I could find, guys. I may not be totally sure, but I think it's only 100. And that's pretty normal for these size generators here. I didn't see a light on the Jackery, but the Allpowers did have it, so it wins again there. Wireless phone charge. Now, that's something that the Allpowers has, but not the Jackery. And that's kind of a nice thing. Say you don't have your cable with you, you can still charge your phone. And I like the flat top of the. They're both really well. I mean, they look nice. They're designed well. They look nice. I like the flat top of the 600 a little bit better because you could conceivably stack two at one time. You would lose one of the charging things, but you can stack them. You can't stack the Jackeries. I guess you could hang them from the handle or both of them. There's a phone app, and I haven't really talked about that yet in this, and I forgot to do that. But there's a phone app. Probably something I wouldn't use a whole lot, but you can control the Allpowers from that. So it wins again there. There's no phone app that I know of for the Jackery. CPU support, the Allpowers does it. And as far as I could tell, it does not happen on the Jackery. So it loses there. Now, this is where I was talking about I will take the extra weight for myself, not for my 93-year-old mother. The Jackery is probably a better deal because it's lighter and smaller for her to handle. But for myself, I will take the LiFeP04 hands down against the lithium. They last longer. They are less likely to have problems with it, catching fire or anything like that. When you do get to the cycles that this thing has, it's still at 80% versus 100%, which I'm not sure about the lithium-ion batteries. But again, you give up something for something else. Personally, for me, I'd rather have the LiFeP04 and the heavier weight. Like I said, for my mother, I would probably like to have the opposite because it'd be easier for her to handle. So basically, it's 11.5 to 2.5 on the points because they tied on the first one.
Okay, guys, so I'm not saying that the Jackery wasn't a good system, because it is. It's very well liked and very well, I mean, people just love them. But you do see the differences. Now, I'm sure this came along after the Jackery, and it's a lot of times competitors will try to up the ante, and I think that's what Allpower has done with this setup. So I think it's a pretty good system. So you guys can make your own decisions and check the specs out. I will, in the description, put a link to the Allpowers so you guys can go in and look at all the specs and everything about it more closely for yourself, if you're planning on buying one. Now, I'd like to take this chance to thank the good folks over at Allpowers for sending this to me. They sent me the solar generator and also the 200-watt solar panel. But they did not ask me to say anything special, show them my video beforehand, or anything like that. All the opinions and all the comments are my own, as they always are, guys. So what I'm doing here is an honest review of what I think of this product, and I think it's pretty good. Okay, guys, I'm going to set this heater up to the 600 here, and it's too many watts. It's gonna blow the circuit, but I'll show you that it will go, and that the protection circuit will come in on it. So I'm going to set it to the side, and you guys can see the screen. We're 100% right now. Nothing going in, nothing going out. I got it on off. Let me plug it in. So I'm just going to use this one. Okay. All right. So right now we're not doing anything. I'm going to turn the fan on first because it will run the fan with no problem, and we'll see what it draws. So this is using the inverter to take 12 volts to 110, like your house circuit. So right now it's telling us that it's running, output is 10 watts, it looks like. Okay. Oh no, excuse me, 21 watts output. It says it will run for 10 hours. That's what I read. All right. So I'm going to turn it to the number one, which is too much, because this only goes to 600. And this thing is, I think, 800 or 900. Okay. I think it's 900. So it's going to go up. It's 286, 359. Goes up slow. 427. I don't know if you can hear it, but the fan came on. So it's running it still. Now it's ramping up above. So at 742 it cut off, guys. And that's what it's supposed to do. Okay, guys, what I've done here is hook the power cord up to it to recharge it. As you can see, it's at 323. I might be losing a little bit because I'm using an extension cord here, and maybe not getting the full power. But so far, the fan hasn't even kicked on yet. So it is charging. Let me get a light, and I'll be right back. Okay, as you guys can see, I have a light hooked up to it. Now, I don't have the charging setup hooked up yet because it charges it really fast. I think that 77 is not, it'll probably not be totally correct until it actually runs a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook the charging unit up. Okay, you saw everything kind of surge there. So now we're at 341. Now what should happen, this is like for your computer, like a battery backup. So it's taking 327, 336. Now if I unplug this, you'll see that go off and the light should stay on, and it doesn't like really fast changeover. So there we are. I unplugged it. It's down to 0, the light stayed on. So it does work. And with the light, I think it's a 100-watt LED, and it's running about 14 watts. So it passes that test also. Now another thing, people ask what would you use this for? And a lot of people that camp and don't have motorhomes, trailers, stuff that have their own onboard batteries, might use something like this with their tent. Now I've seen people use like the little string lights for LEDs and run those on so they have light in their camp or in their tent. You guys have kids. I have grandkids, and I know how they get during the day. They get pretty wound up, and after dinner you're in that mode where you're trying to get them to bed, and they have dinner, and then you kind of set them down and let them rest a little bit, like watching something on a laptop or an iPad or something like that, a little movie, just to kind of bring them into that mode to sleep. And this thing would work great for that too. Not to shoot, that kind of stuff puts me to sleep too. So I'm just saying, it is a handy thing. And while you're there, you keep all your stuff charged, because you may not have any way of charging it other than your car. And that's not optimum a lot of times. I actually use this, and my wife, my daughter, they use theirs a lot of times just sitting around the house charging, so you can have your phone with you with a nice little cord, and you don't have to leave your phone someplace else. Just a few thoughts that I'd share with how I use my stuff. All right, guys. So right now we've got it's turned on, right? If you look at it there, so we're turned on. I'm using the app on my phone, and I'll get a picture of that in a minute for you. But so if I want to turn on the 110, so these are the 110s here. See the light pop on? I can turn it off. I just turned it off. Now I'm going to turn on the DC stuff. See the light pop on. And this one's going to probably blind you guys a little bit, but I'm going to hit the light, and then I'll turn it off. So the app's very responsive, works well. So here's what the app looks like, and all the buttons down the right side. If you toggle those, that's what turns things on and off. So pretty nice little app, pretty simple, not too hard to work, and it will tell you everything. It shows, if you see there, it says input, output, and right now I'm not running anything, so it's not doing anything. But let me see if I can find something to hook to it real quick, and we'll see if it changes. Okay, so I have the fan that I used earlier, so I'm going to hit the 120. So it should see something here. Just turned on. Our output right now is 22 watts. Hopefully you guys can see that. And if I hit it again, back to 0. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got something from it. And this is a really nice unit. It has a lot of upgrades from other units that are the same size in the category. And what I call size is the actual watt hours. And it's as you saw in the video, it comes to the game ready to go. So if you did enjoy this video, please hit the like, and if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, hit all. That way you get all my future videos. I'm Chuck, KK6USY for Hamburger Adventures. So hopefully you guys will be ready for the next disaster in your area where the power goes out, and maybe it'll be an Allpowers. 73 all. Have a great day.